Hello everyone, peace to you. This is Magda Comp course, and then I'm here to discuss some review questions on the first and then second emerging technology chapters. The second chapter of emerging technologies. You remember that we have seen the first and then the second chapters, and then in the first chapter, we have defined some definition or the definition of the emerging technology. And then we have seen also about the industrial revolutions, then especially the most important inventions of the industrial revolution, the history or background of the industrial revolutions. Also, we have seen that one. And then the enabling network devices or the devices and the networks. Then lastly, in the first chapter, we have seen about the human-computer interaction with its advantage and then disadvantage. So these all are the points which we have seen in the first chapter of the emerging technology. In the second chapter also, we have seen about the data science, Then in the data science, we have seen the definition of the data and then the data science. Actually, in that way, we have seen also about some data types of this data science based on the analytics of this perspective, and then data processing life cycle. Also, we have seen this one, and then we have seen the definition of the big data, what makes the big data, and then some characteristics of the big data. And then also we have seen about the organizations or companies or people who are generating the big data or using big data, and also the data value chains, the 5 data value chain levels. And then lastly, we have seen about the clustered computing and Hadoop ecosystem, cluster computing and Hadoop ecosystem. So today, let's see some summary or highlight questions from these chapters. So firstly, as you see from this slide, I have prepared about 11 questions or highlight questions. So we will see these all questions. The first question is telling it like this, and saying that dash is the stage of transition to new manufacturing process. Dash is the stage of transition to new manufacturing process. The first one is A, first industrial revolution, B, second industrial revolution, C, the third industrial revolution, and then D, the fourth industrial revolution. So the answer for this one is what? It will be A. A is what? The answer, because the first industrial revolution is the first stage which transit or which transfer the new manufacturing processes for the life of the society. Okay, then the second one is what was the basic factor for the third industrial revolution or the digital revolution? Actually, you know that the third industrial revolution, or the nickname or another name for the third industrial revolution, is the digital revolution. Digital revolution. So, what was the basic factor for this, the creation of the third industrial revolution? A, due to widespread adoption of pre-existing technological ecosystem. B, due to the transformation from digital to analog. C, due to widespread use of derived technologies like the computers. And then D, all. What do you think? What do you think? So the answer for the basic factors for the creation of the third industrial revolution is what? It is due to the wide spread or wide use spread of the technologies like the computers, or that means what? Due to the transformation of the society into what? Or you can say that from the mechanical and analog into the digitalization or digital way. So digital way means what? It is changed into the concept of the computer or a computerized system. Okay, the third question, from enabling devices and networking, which one is used to execute software instructions to perform many tasks? This is what? There are different instructions then from the computer, from the device, and then which part of the following or which one of the following is able to do the execution of instructions which can perform as many tasks. So the first one is logic device, B microprocessor, C memory devices, D all. So it says what? The software instruction. The software instruction. So the software instruction can be what? Performed or executed by what? By microprocessor. It is performing by microprocessor because logical devices are what? The devices which are used to device communication. Memory is used to store or save something, and then microprocessor or CPU is used to what? Performing instruction or executing the instruction. So the answer will be B. The fourth question, one of the following is not the advantage of human-computer interaction or human-machine interaction. Which one is not advantage of human-computer interaction? The first one is A, simplicity, B, cost saving, C, increase integration complexity, D, none. D, none. So the answer will be what? Which one is not advantage? Which is not advantage of non-computer? For example, simplicity is what? The advantage. Simplicity is the advantage because the human-computer interaction is used to simplify the work of the user. It saves the cost. And then it says what? Increases, the third one is, or C says what? Increase integration complexity. This is what? The disadvantage. So which is not advantage. The fifth one is dash is the active management of data over its life cycle to ensure data quality for effective usage. This is from the second chapter. This is the second chapter, or this is about the data value chain, from the part of data value chain which is used to actively manage the data over its life cycle of the data to get the quality or the effective usage of the data. So A says data storage, B says data acquisition, C data curation, D data usage. So what do you think? The answer for this one will be what? The data curation. Data curation. Because what? Data storage is used to store data. Data acquisition is about gathering, collecting, filtering, doing some collection of about the data. And then data curation is about what? Active management or the protection of the data. Then data usage is what? After the data is collected, then it will be how to use or how to perform or process the data. Okay, well. Okay, so the sixth question is, which one of the following is odd? This, which one of the following odd means what? Which one of the following is different? Which one of the following is different? Well, so if you remember in the second chapter about the data types, in perspective of this data analytics, we have said that there are three data types. That means structured, semi-structured, and then unstructured. So when you see this one, which one is different or which one is odd means which one is unique when we are relating with the other. So the first one, A says text, B says audio, C says word, and then D says relational database. So the answer for this one will be what? D. Why? Text, word, and then audios are what? They are unstructured data. We cannot structuralize in the tabular format, in rows and the column form. So, but in the relational database, it is about what? It is about the creating some rows and then columns like this, and then putting some value in that way. You can structurize in this manner. That is why the relational database is what? Which is structured, and then the others are unstructured database or data types. The seventh, an open source software framework used to make interaction with big data easily is dash. Is dash. A. Ecosystem. B. Hadoop. C. Cluster computing. D. All. So, which one is the answer? You can say which is open source framework. Open source means what? Freely available source which you can use and then customize by your own. You cannot pay for using of this type of framework or software. It is open source. And then also, in addition to that, what? The open source, and then after it is used to interact with the big data easily. First one is ecosystem, the second one is Hadoop, the third one is cluster computing, and then the fourth one is all, or D says all. So what is that? What is that? Which is the Hadoop. Hadoop is a software or the framework which is considered as a blanket or similar with as a blanket, which is a very large data, and then which is a software you can easily download or use by your own without any payment. Okay, well, the eighth question, in a set of video record, that describe where and when the video was taken is about dash. That means what? It is displaying or showing some description when we are recording a video or audio or photo, and then it gives some explanation or description when you have taken the video and then the place where you have taken the video. So for example, if you remember the photo or video which you have taken before 1 year or before 2-3 months ago, then if you remember the photo and then see it one, and then that it shows you that you can remember, oh, we have taken this type of photo or audio around this area and then at this time. There is what the information which gives about that audio or video or photo. So which one is describing such type of description? A, metadata. B, information. C, data type. D, big data. Then the answer is what? It is about metadata. Metadata means what? Data about data, describing the data. Using the data, you are going to describe the data. So about the video record is what? Described where and then when this type of video is taken. That is why. Okay. The other point is the ninth question. Which characteristics of big data tells us about data may come in many different forms from diverse sources? That means what? Data having variety of forms or different forms which you can get from different resource or from different location. So A, volume. B, velocity. C, variety. D, veracity. So different form of data shows what? Different form of data shows what? It is about the variety. About the variety, because volume is what? One of the characteristics of big data. Yeah, it is we say that data or big data is characterized by 4 V's. We say that the volume is what? The large amount of data or the size of the data. And then velocity is the movement of the data or data in motion. And then variety is a different form of data. And then veracity is what? Trustworthiness of the data. Can I trust the data when I'm receiving or taking from somewhere? Is it trustable? That means what? Which is in question. So the answer will be the variety. The 10th one, what is the function of sensor technology and the network while generating big data? That means what? The sensor technology and networks function when it is generating the big data. First one is tracking all objects always. The second one is measuring all kinds of data. C, collecting all sorts of data. D, A, and B are correct. That means what? When the sensor technology and the network is doing, and then how it is generating the big data, and then what is the function of this sensor technology when it is doing this one. Those function of this is what? It is about the collecting all sources of the data. Collecting all sources of the data. Okay. Okay, well done. This is the last question I provided for you. And then it is up to you to think and then answer from the previous course which we have seen, especially you can refer the previous videos. So the question is saying that what is cluster computing? What is cluster computing? And then why it is needed, especially what is cluster computing, and then why it is needed. In cluster computing, we have idea how the user of especially this big data or technology are increasing. So because of that, handling some amount of data or the big data easily is very difficult or complex, so that some cluster computings are important. So perspective of these chapters let you check and then answer about the definition of this cluster computing and then why this cluster computing is important for us. So I argue to answer on the comment below, because after you finish the course and then or lastly you can give me the comment under this one, and then if you are the first person who answered the question, you will have, and then if you answer the correct question under the comment, and then you will have the reward. So that is why I'm providing for you this one. Okay, this is the end of this review question from the first and then the second chapter. Thank you for watching this video, and then I may ask you to do some especially subscription if you are happy and then okay with this video, and then if you want to again watch the other left videos or upcoming videos, then I ask you to subscribe and then share for friends for the next courses. Thank you for watching this video and then having time with me. Bye bye.